in 1974 when we were off the gold standard. I mean, we came out of that, so.
Yeah, the market dropped 50% between 73 to 75.
Right.
I think it dropped like a lot more. Okay, we're going to cut to our second commercial break, and the TV trivia theme. The theme today is TV show spinoffs. Joey was a spinoff of what TV show? And we will be right back. Good.
Awesome.
And you know the answer to that.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, did I take it down too much? That wasn't that much fun. That wasn't a fun segment.
That's
Talk
okay.
about Bloomberg had two charts yesterday. One was incredible. One is this is the first time in 1955 was the last year where dividend yields were higher than the 10-year Treasury. And the other one was what it costs for us to live to age 78, and we spend the most in the world.
Oh,
Makeup, please.
okay.
Makeup. Wait a minute, is that the same one you used on the dog?
No, the other makeup.
Okay.
Can I get some foundation?
Yeah.
Sorry. Plug in some wrinkles.
See, now every hair is not in place. Right?
No rules.
Yes. I can't do this anymore.
Tell you what.
Let it rip.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, Robert Schitt, and our special guest, Lou Botmal. And we cut up to the second commercial break. We asked this trivia question. And again, we're talking about TV spinoffs. Joey was a spinoff of what TV show? And I understand 2 out of 3 of our...
I'm waiting to hear
Lou
the
knows
answer.
that one.
It's Friends. I think.
Friends, it
Yes.
is correct.
Oh,
That is
that's-
correct. Very good.
I just lost my man card, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's kind of a fun show. Listen, Jennifer Aniston still...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she still looks good. Okay.
Enough said.
If my beautiful wife is listening, don't worry, sweetie, you're still number one. Okay, we received a couple of emails here. Mark, here's a question that we received, an email for you. How can I protect myself against unscrupulous hard money lenders I have dealt with in the past? I'm guessing this is someone who borrowed money.
Yeah, it sounds like a borrower. And for new listeners, my company is Pacific Private Money, also DBA Pacific Private Money Loans. We're a hard money lender based in Marin County, and our typical borrower client is a real estate investor. The banks have generally stopped making loans to real estate investors, so the companies like Pacific Private Money and others have kind of stepped in the last 5 years to fill that void, and so we're busy making loans to people who are buying, fixing, and flipping, or looking to buy rental property, or maybe pull cash out of property you own, because generally if you go to the bank for that request right now, they're going to tell you thanks but no thanks, because they're busy doing refinances these days at 3 3/4%, or
Which we'll get into, Robert.
which we'll get into, yeah, right, yeah.
When they can.
And good for
yeah.
them. So, but if you're looking to buy real estate as an investment, because as we were talking about earlier about bonds and stocks and CDs and low interest, and you're trying to figure out how to make some real money with your money, and you want to get in the real estate market, if you need leverage, you got to really come to a hard money lender or private money lender. They're interchangeably, that they're basically the same. The term means the same thing. The listener says, how do I protect myself against unscrupulous hard money lenders? And I'm guessing that person probably ran into somebody who was either doing one of several things. One would be there are people out there, companies out there representing themselves as lenders who would then ask for an upfront fee. And even though that fee might not be a lot of money, it's still real money to you, and it may be anything from $500 to $1,500 to $2,500 to process your loan application. We do not charge any upfront fees, and no good or reputable private money or hard money lender in the Bay Area or California, for that matter, should ever charge you an upfront fee. Secondly, what oftentimes happens, what I hear, is that kind of like a bait and switch, where you're represented, oh, we can do that for you, and here are the terms and conditions. We can do it for 3 points and 12%, for an example. And then they come back after they've strung you along, taken your application, and you need to close because you're going to lose your deposit if you don't close on that purchase. And they say, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, but our lender came back and he's got these concerns, and we got to charge you 6 points, and we've got some extra fees. So all of a sudden it becomes kind of you're stuck, and you end up having to pay higher fees. And again, that is just that no reputable company should ever do that. We certainly don't do that at Pacific.
So how does
So,
one-
Go ahead. Well, so Mark, if somebody's coming to you for a loan, it certainly is dependent on checking them out and how their financial picture is, still somewhat, and how their credit is, and an appraisal, I assume.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, we write letters of interest all the time and say, well, here's the terms and conditions that we believe we can provide to you. And now, certainly sometimes the guy will say, well, I really wanted 10%, I don't want to pay 11. And I'll do my best to get that, and and oftentimes I have to go back and say, look, I've got a guy who's willing to do it, but he wants an 11% rate, do you want to do this? But I'll almost never change my fees. I'm not going to go back and say, well, I know I quoted you 3, but now it's 5 points because the lender wants points, which is usually a lot of money.
One of the things that you could do, though, is you could give references of other borrowers who could vouch for the fact that you stuck to your word.
Well, that's the other thing. So if anyone asks for an upfront fee, say thank you for sharing and hang up and call the next person on your list. And you want to go. Obviously, you want to. If you're doing a Google search for hard money lenders, that's where you're going to oftentimes find those also ran companies that are maybe not legitimate. You might want to go to a website that's called Private Money Lending Guide. They're based in Southern California, Private Money Lending Guide, and that not only is there great information on how to find reputable private lenders, but for example, we're listed on that as well as a number of other private lenders all over California.
Well, I got a quick story. When we were doing hard money loans, we had a situation where there was a church buying the building because they were going to turn the old theater into their sanctuary, and they had run into an unscrupulous hard money lender from Oregon, and the guy basically had made certain promises to them, and knowing that they had to close by a certain date. And when the pastor got in to sign the documents at escrow, he snuck in a clause that said that the hard money lender was going to own 51% of the building.
Oh my
And the
God.
pastor caught that and said, wait, we didn't agree to that. And the lender said, yeah, I know, but you don't have a choice now, because if you don't, the price goes way up and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And the pastor just on his good word said, you know what, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, asking for references is actually really good, and
That's a really good idea.
because they may not ask for an upfront fee, but that doesn't mean they're going to do something
Exactly.
unsavory at the end when you basically are relying on them to close.
Very good. Okay, Robert, an email we received for you says, I have heard the term buy down the rate. What does it mean, and is it a good idea? That's a pretty good question.
Well, it's a good question. I'll get into it later whether it's a good idea or not, and that depends on a lot of other factors. But anytime you're looking for a mortgage, the banks want to make a certain yield, and they say, we can give you a certain interest rate, and we'll charge you a certain fee for that. Or just take an example, we can give you a 30-year fixed at 4%, and for that there won't be any points. And we could also give you, if you wanted to have a lower interest rate, they would calculate how much money they have to make some other way to give you the lower interest rate, and so they would say, well, we'll give you at 4% at no points, we'd be willing to give you a loan for 3 3/4%, 1/4% lower, and generally you can get a 1/4% lower for paying 1 point, which is 1% of the loan. So on a $400,000 loan, you would pay $4,000 to reduce your interest rate 1/4%.
Which should be about
And
4 years worth.
Usually it takes about 4.5, 5 years, I tell people, to get their money back from that investment. And a lot of people say, well, the interest rates are so low, I'm never going to move, I'm going to have this for 30 years, I really want to do it. And my experience in 20-some years in the market is, for whatever reason, even at these low interest rates, mortgages tend to have a life of 5 to 7 years. People, as family grow, they buy another place, they get a
That's
job,
a good
their job changes, and they have to change geographically. So I don't like to see people pay today for a hamburger tomorrow. So,
Wimpy, there we go. That's right.
so it's generally not a good idea, as far as I'm concerned, to pay money to buy down the rate. In fact, you can also go the other way and get a slightly higher interest rate and have the bank pay all the closing costs, which a on loans could be $2,000, $3,000, even $4,000 between the bank's fees and the title insurance
So it sounds like
fees.
a case-by-case basis you'd actually
So
look
it
at.
really is something that we'd have to go over, and it depends on how much money they have, what they want to do, and their whole financial picture.
I like the way that you say that, because wouldn't you think that many mortgage loan originators would recommend that they buy down the rate, because maybe some of those points go in their pocket?
Pretty much not. With the new regulations, most of the lenders are, they're set, and they're going to get a specific amount. It's going to be 1%, whether the clients buy the rate up or buy the rate down.
Well, that's good to know, because that would be a
And-
question that I
Yeah, because
think
most of
would
the money
be
goes to
Yeah,
derivatives,
the
right?
the government's tried to regulate so
Wow.
that individually, the mortgage brokers don't have an incentive to lead them into some one kind of loan. as
And who's
opposed to
doing that
another.
credit default swap there, Robert? I'm just kidding.
Well, that's good to know, that if your mortgage loan originator recommends or says, hey, you can buy down the rate, and if you're going to live in your house, that could save you X number of dollars over 10 years. So that should then be considered a real recommendation, and
Yeah, it definitely is.
not
case
a
by
veiled way
case.
for him to put more money in his pocket.
Yeah.
Copper.
Great. All right, stay in the studio. We're going to
Yeah.
get into some more economic stuff. Before we cut to the last commercial break, we had a special trivia contest here where the winner is going to receive 2 tickets on the Hornblower.
I beat it.
All right, so here is the special trivia question. And here are the rules, okay? First of all, can't have won any prize on the Best of Investing. And then also, you have to email Edward tonight, edward@bestofinvesting.com, by midnight tonight. And next week, from all the answers we receive, the correct answers, we're going to randomly pick the winner and announce it next week. And here is the question. According to insurance statistics, this person's car insurance was once over $125,000 a year. Who was this person? That's
Really?
interesting. Can you
Wow.
imagine $125,000 a year? That's amazing. Okay, we're going to cut to the third and final trivia question. Now, Robert, you should know this one. Trapper John, MD, was a spin-off of what TV show? And we will be right back. Hey.
Should but don't.
For our senior co-host.
Should but don't.
You don't know that
Trapper-
one?
No.
Oh, you know that? Oh, come
Probably will
on.
when you tell me, but
What were you know that?
Of course.
Okay.
they're going to keep me in suspense.
Yeah, you can keep you in suspenders.
Sergeant Preston of the Yukon.
That guy hosts the real Trapper hosts an investment show, right? Wayne Rogers.
Does he really?
Yeah, on Fox. He has a website on Fox. He's on that Fox Bulls and Bears. Wayne Rogers. and, yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing that now? Because I've read that he's like this great entrepreneur. You know?
Right. No, he owns a bunch of
That's
businesses,
remarkable
but
That's right.
he's always on there. Who's the guy
He
who
was
was
on like Inc. magazine a couple
Yeah.
years ago or
Yeah.
something.
There's a guy with George
Success.
Soros who's always on there. He has the bow tie. Jim, I forget his name, but he's
I
on there
never
with Wayne
watch any of those
Rogers.
shows.
They, well, I watch him because that's where people.
Well, because you would watch them, but you know, like I'm a real estate
What
guy. I don't
shows George
care
Soros?
about
You
stocks.
would
Is that-
watch
yeah.
Well,
I mean that
Soros was on
I know.
Bloomberg. This is talking to Hero, but
Just the way you said it, I just had
he had
would.
his
Yeah,
partner
Yeah,
is
you
a
would.
big commodities
You know,
trader.
It's so funny. It depends.
And people
on,
always wonder, like, does he invest his own money or does he just talk about it? It's kind of
Okay,
funny.
this
so.
comes from a Yiddish book. All right, it depends on how you put your emphasis, right? And, if you just read it, it's 2 tickets for her concert I should buy. Now you could do that. 2 tickets for her concert I should buy, or two tickets for her concert. All right, depending upon how two tickets for her concert I should buy versus you right. So it depends on how you put the emphasis, and that's from the Yiddish book of the joys of Yiddish.
Everything you want to know about Yiddish, but we're afraid to ask.
That's right, exactly. Okay, so let me figure out this segment here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
So I,
Ready? And as Jackie Gleason used to say, away
We go.
we go. Very good. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, Robert Jitt, and our special guest, Lou Bamal. You like the way I say that? Lou Bamal. And when we cut to the third commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Trapper John, MD, was a spinoff of what TV show? Robert,
I
come on.
pass.
Come on.
Come on.
Go ahead.
MASH.
MASH.
Yeah.
Your favorite show? My favorite show. Well, one of
Our
my favorite
senior
shows.
co-host did not
Didn't know
know the
that.
Didn't
answer.
know that. And Mark, you've got a very interesting article there.
Well, this week in Bloomberg, I thought this was, I like the headline. It said, home prices rise in glamour cities, including San Francisco. So I didn't know if you guys knew it,
They
but
haven't
we
been
live
to
in a
the
glamour
Tenderloin.
city.
Yeah, they haven't been to the Tenderloin lately.
But it was just interesting in that, we've talked about the inventory really tightening up, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that even though there's a huge shadow inventory of non-performing home loans out there, the banks have not been foreclosing at the rate they were foreclosing a year ago and 2 years ago and 3 years ago. They've really slowed that down. Fewer homes are going to auction, meaning fewer homes are becoming bank-owned, and therefore fewer homes are being released on the market for sale. And that, combined with the fact that people who want to sell are underwater and therefore can't sell their homes, we have a very, very low inventory of product right now, and that is causing a little mini bubble, not necessarily a return of a strong real estate market, but just simply supply and demand is causing prices to increase. And it's just very interesting that prices are up annually in San Francisco. It says here in the article, San Francisco home prices rose at a 16% annual rate in the 3 months that ended April. So,
Wow.
so that's
It is tax
just
season.
yeah,
Wow.
and that's according to Kay Schiller, which is one of the experts in tracking this information. So, I just and again, I think it's a false bubble really, and the big fear is okay, well, what are banks going to do with all that those performing home loans out there?
I don't know that San Francisco or the Bay Area in general is a false bubble. I mean, it didn't get hit anywhere near as hard as almost everywhere else in the country did when real estate prices,
true.
even say in Marin County, went down 20-35%, and the city hardly got hit at all.
Yeah.
Very
Good.
little.
Well, is